from the F3 Knoxville podcast studio, which is Blindside's back porch.
Oh, I could barely lift my right arm because I did so many. I don't know if you heard me counting, I did over 1,000.
This is Beyond the COT, a weekly podcast connecting the packs of F3 Knoxville and beyond through invigorating male community leadership, through fitness, fellowship, and faith.
Avengers! Assemble.
38 school zone.
School zone.
34 strip.
40 kickflip. 56 high heels.
High heels, respect.
37 trunk.
The F3 Knoxville Beyond the COT podcast starts right now. Hello and welcome to Beyond the COT, F3 Knoxville's weekly podcast, reaching the hymns of Knoxville and beyond. Blindside coming at you here on a lovely Sunday evening. Just spent the day cleaning up my yard from a fence falling down. We'll get more to that in a second. But what that really did is kept myself, my 2.0s, and my M. We were outside all night. We ended up grilling burgers and sitting out on the back porch and eating a nice family dinner together with no distractions. It was pretty awesome. So this week on Beyond the COT, I got a little bit of an announcement, a little shake-up in the podcast schedule. I'm also going to formally introduce Shamrock as April 2022's AO of the month. We'll let the intro play out here and we'll get started. Okay, I want to get started here with that announcement that I mentioned a minute ago, the shake-up in the podcast schedule. You know, you probably noticed that there were no Picking Up the Six last Wednesday, nor Mumble Chatter last Friday, and we only had last Monday's Beyond the COT. And to put it simply, the reason why we didn't have those two is life happened. Both of the vehicles that I owned died within 2 days of each other. I had a new transmission put in the wife's Suburban, second new transmission since December, so thank you for that. And then the minivan that I drive, the alternator went out, and because of a little bit on that is a shout out to Snitch and Christian Brothers Automotive for the new alternator. They had a great quick turnaround. I think I dropped that van off at about 10 a.m. and was able to pick it up just before 5 p.m. So they're quick, great price, great communication when it comes to that. So I know I do hashtag no free ads, but Snitch and Christian Brothers do a great thing. Also, big shout out to Tank, who happened to be picking up a car, I think one of his 2.0's cars, at Christian Brothers as I was brought in a tow truck with the van, and he was able to give me a ride home last Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. And so I really appreciate that. So 2 vehicles down. We have on Wednesday night a section of my 8-foot privacy fence in the back fell. So that was fun. Those storms Wednesday night were no joke. And I'm actually spending almost 100% of my free time at home since then cleaning up that mess. That fence is runs the whole back line of my property. It's not too much. It's about 75 to 100 feet long, so cleaning that up, getting rid of the wood, chopping that up into small manageable pieces. It's Sunday evening now, and I'm just about 3/4 of the way done with the job, so we're moving into almost a week. Also, my family suffered a loss of a member of one of my extended family. My uncle's first wife passed away suddenly and tragically on Wednesday night. Wednesday or Thursday night. I can't remember which. It's been kind of a whirlwind over here. No, it was Wednesday night. While I wasn't close with her, I am close with 2 of her daughters who live here in town. My cousins, I grew up with them almost spend a lot of time with them, and I know a couple hymns around town know them as well, so prayers up for them. So needless to say, with life happening as it did, I wasn't able to get Picking Up the Six or Mumble Chatter out last week, and because of that, it kind of got me to think about adjusting the podcast schedule. I was going to stick to my guns with these 3 shows a week, even though I had more than one person saying, that's a lot. And it is, and it was somewhat doable, but it also causes, when life happens, it causes them, to those podcasts to not happen. And the reliability of those of you that listen to each of these 3 shows each week, it really, I don't want to let anybody down. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shelf Picking Up the Six as an entire show. It is usually short, usually about 5 or 6 minutes long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack it on to the end of Beyond the COT. So as many of you guys know, I pre-record a lot of Picking Up the Six anyways, and what this will do is allow me just to throw that segment into this show instead of editing it as its own podcast to go out on Wednesdays. It saves me quite a bit of time, because really the least amount of time is the recording. It's the editing with the audio. It may not sound like I edit this very well, but putting it in the music, coming up with the show notes and writing everything down, usually that's what takes the most time. So I'm going to shelf that because I had Picking Up the Six recorded, just not edited for last week. And then also what I'm going to do, a little behind the scenes action here with Mumble Chatter. Instead of just recording it all at once, writing everything out on Thursday evening and writing and recording it all at once, I'm just going to record those announcements as I get them, and so I can just drop them in again as segments, so I don't have to plan a longer period of time to record. I can just do minute and a half chunks here. So I'm also going to reuse those segments multiple weeks. So, for example, the CSOP that's coming up in May in Oak Ridge, it'll be the same segment, replayed over a couple weeks until we get a little bit closer, and then I'll update it. But just that'll save me a little bit of time and let me to keep providing Mumble Chatter on Fridays. And now for F3 Knoxville's April AO of the month, Shamrock. Little basics about the Shamrock AO. They meet at Knoxville Catholic High School Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 05:30 for a regular beatdown. There's also a group that pre-runs Shamrock around 0500. I'm not a pre-runner, I'm a pre-rucker, but, good for those guys. Shamrock is led by AOQ Mermaid, and Mermaid has done an incredible job not only leading the hymns of Shamrock, but also growing it tremendously. While some of the Shamrock regulars attend other AOs on occasion, you can always count on Shamrock posting some of the largest numbers each week at beatdowns, with a constant stream, it seems, of F and G showing up. From what I understand, Shamrock also has the distinction as having the most channels on Slack. So we have our regular Shamrock channel. There also is, you may have noticed, the Shamrock running channel, where they meet on Tuesday, Thursdays for off the books or OTB runs. Mermaid is a machine. He pre-runs these Monday, Wednesday, Friday beatdowns. He gets mileage on those Tuesday, Thursday Shamrock running days. So check out the channel Shamrock Running to see what route, mileage, and whatever they're up to each week. They also do a great job at keeping it simple and slow for those who need it. And it's a great way. I have not gotten out there for a running off the books workout. Usually I'm headed over there to Dog Pound on Tuesday, Thursdays, or taking a much needed day off. So, every once in a while you need that. Can't go hard 6 days a week, even if Wax Job says you have to. All right, so there's also, I mentioned more channels, the relatively new Shamrock Health channel. where many of the Shamrock regulars track their exercise and caloric intake, and they use the Shamrock Health Channel to kind of keep each other accountable. And they use an app. What app do they use? I'm going to pull that up so I can see it. Chronometer. So you input food and everything that you eat and drink throughout the day, and it connects to your Garmin, your Apple Watch, or whatever, and you can see, where you are in a calorie deficit and to lose weight. And I think Mermaid's lost, I think he said he's on 12 pounds lost since he started doing that. So, T-claps to him. And it's a great way, that's a great channel for accountability. I haven't posted a screenshot of my chronometer in there for a while. I stopped actually tracking, and definitely might have been called out. So it's a good way for accountability group. I queued out there last Wednesday for the new and improved F3 Uno, and I'll be out there again actually today, Monday the 4th, and then the next time I'll be out there leading will be Friday, April 2nd. So come on out to Shamrock, F3 Knoxville's April 2022 AO of the month.
Message for you, son.
Are you finding different colored minerals on the walking path at your local park? Are they interfering with your power walking or mom's walking group? Are your stroller's tires getting covered in this chalky substance? Then you need the newly patented Asylum chalk remover. All you need is a little rain and some big boy sit-ups. That's really it. It's not that big of a deal. So come get your Asylum chalk remover today. Just remember, 4-year-olds drawing pictures are okay, but writing out your workout plan, it is not. Always bring your Winky. So I mentioned earlier that picking up the 6 is going to tag on the end of Beyond the COT from now on. So this is going to be the first picking up the 6. This was pre-recorded before it was supposed to go out last week, so I will go ahead and let that roll. So on this week's Picking Up the 6, we have got 3 terms from the F3 lexicon and 3 terms from the F3 exicon, where we are going to dig a deep dive into each one of these. And I say deep dive, I mean short dive. We're going to keep this podcast short this week. So the first from the lexicon, the lingo, we've got the rule of 3 Ps. So this is the 3 Ps is to be an effective team. So in order, any team, I mean, this doesn't have to be F3 related, but you have to have 3 Ps. You have to be proximate, you have to be purposeful, and you have to be periodic. And you can really place these 3 Ps in any situation. I think about at my school, for any kind of leadership team, admin team, department team, if you're not near each other, at least in conversation, the proximate, it's going to be hard to get things done. And that's not saying that you need to be physically near each other, but close enough for communication and talking through issues that come up. If you're not, close in that way, especially in the time of Zoom meetings and virtual conferences and that sort of thing, you might not be physically proximate. But as long as you're close and communicative with each other, that's important. The other P, purposeful. You have to have a purpose. If you go into any kind of meeting or planning session, you guys know this as leaders in our community. If you don't have a purpose behind what you're doing, you can't be successful. And then periodic. So, I have this thing in education, and one day I'm gonna write a book on it, and it's called the Ronco principle, and that's principle ending in Principle, not principal like the person in a school, but the Ronco principle. You guys might remember these late night infomercials where it was a Ronco oven, and the big thing was you put a turkey in it, and 4 hours later it was done. And their slogan or their motto is, "You set it and forget it." So they would say, the first part, the host would say, "You set it and then the audience, in typical infomercial fashion would repeat, and forget it. And I think that a lot of initiatives and a lot of things that we plan on doing, that happens a lot, and especially does in education. You set it, and you set it up, and you have great intentions for it, and then you forget about it. And it is not like a Ronco oven. That turkey will not get cooked if you are not periodic in your meeting, periodic in your planning, and that not just for education, it goes everywhere. So the rule of 3P, that's a F3 lingo term, is a team to be effective must be proximate, purposeful, and periodic. The second term is 43 feet. So this is used a lot in F3, and it takes a while to get fully understand it, but a leader must be out in front and approximately 43 feet out in front, building the road for others to drive. So leaders really must put themselves out there and do things that are uncomfortable and hard for them to do, but be out in front of those who they're leading and building that road for others to drive it. And I'm not as familiar with the 43 feet mentality. This is one of those things that I'm reading about more from Dread. I'm reading about more from the F3 Nation, and 43 feet, being out 43 feet, and I don't know what the 43 represents, and I'm sure it represents something. And if there's anybody out there that wants to come in and talk about that on a podcast, I'd be more than welcome. Come on. And the third term for picking up the 6 this week is always be headlocking. ABH. So obviously this is a playoff of Glengarry, Glenn Ross, and Alec Baldwin's Always Be Closing. That's a great movie and a great speech by him. And so always be headlocking is never missing an opportunity to transform a sad clown into an FNG. And you never know when those opportunities will come about. It could be the sticker on the back of your car. It could be your shirts and the other articles of clothing that you wear out in public. Coffee cup. That's how my one of the FNGs I brought in recently saw my coffee cup at work. So that's one of those things. Also, what I found, and I'm happy to share any of these, is when you're on the Mud Gear website and you're buying a shirt or a sweatshirt and the total is like $47, and then they're going to tack on that $5 shipping, or you're just so close to that $50 free shipping. I threw in 100 pack of the F3 business cards one time, so I've got about 85, 90 or so of those left, and it's just got all the F3 Nation information. And what I did is I just wrote the F3 Knoxville website on the back, as well as the F3 Twitter and my own Twitter, which is at F3_Blindside, if you want to give a follow. And I hand those out to guys. I've handed them out at work events. I've handed them out at social gatherings, at baseball games. So I think it's a great way. And if you want some of those, just let me know. Like I said, I have plenty of them left. All right. The three terms, the three Exicon terms that we're going to look at real quickly is going to be the first one, which is I thought hilarious. It's one of those first ones that one of the first workouts I went to that I thought was just gave me a little chuckle, and that's the Al Gore. A lot of times you hear the cue say hold Al Gore until the 6 arise, and basically that's just holding a squat. And it comes from, it looks like you're holding a tree. You're being a tree hugger, like good old Al Gore was after inventing the internet and wanting to save the planet. The next term is a bear crawl / crawl bear. I put this on here just because of the crawl bear aspect of it. The only time I've ever used crawl bear is when you're dealing with a hill. I know that the Bermuda Triangle at the Equalizer, we utilize the crawl bear, and a bear crawl is just what it sounds like. It's hands and feet crawling along a certain path, and then the crawl bear is just backwards. So you're just going backwards. That's why it's used on a hill a whole lot. So bear crawl and crawl bear. And then usually, as you guys know, I wrap up this picking up the 6 talking about not just an exercise, but kind of a routine. And so the routine for this week is a Dora. Now, for some weird reason, I have noticed this week the Dora popping up in more and more backblasts. And so I've been introduced to it by Ribbed, and almost everywhere he goes, he uses the Dora, and I have absolutely taken it. And it's a partner exercise where between you and your partner, you're completing a certain number of reps of a certain types of exercises, and one partner's doing that while the other one runs to the next cone and back. And usually it's 3 exercises where each of you run 3 times and do the exercise 3 times. And then when you're done with those 3, you move to that next cone and you do those 3 between cone 2 and 3. And so Dora is a great pocket cue to have. All you really need is to have a couple pieces of paper sitting in the console of your car. And if you happen to need a pocket cue, bust those out. And it's a great exercise. You get a lot of running in. You get a lot of reps in, a lot of at different workouts. You can make it about legs. You can make it about shoulders, arms, whatever. But the Dora is a great routine. So that's picking up the 6 for this week. I will see you all Friday for Mumble Chatter. And that'll do it for this week's edition of Beyond the COT. As always, please rate, review the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Help us grow the show. Send this to any sad clowns or other F3 hymns that you think might enjoy the podcast. If you have any ideas to make it better, if you have any ideas that you want to throw out for your own show, obviously we've got the midweek slot open, but we have any and all opportunities for co-hosting, interviews, discussions, topics that you want thrown out. Just let me know. Hit me up on Slack or on Twitter at F3_Blindside. So, as always, this is Davis Bodie, 34, Blindside.